Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships, live on the web and here in Sollefteå, Sweden. It is still a windy day out here, not as bad as it was yesterday, but very, very warm. My name is Randy Ferguson, and I will be your commentator throughout the event. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. As you can see, 5 degrees Celsius, and the snow is about at the same temperature, and the winds is still pretty high, 4 meters per second, not as gusty and as violent as yesterday. So we are going to start our day off today. We're in the free technique. It is going to be the long distance for the men standing, 20 kilometers. So it will be, once again, a hard day of work here at the office with the 26 athletes taking the start, and many have already been on podiums here at the World Championships. Vegard Dali, the leader of the IPC standing, one of them, as he won silver in 2011. We will be starting off with our first competitor at 10 o'clock and 30 seconds. We will then go into our men's visually impaired 20-kilometer race, and part of the group today, the gold, silver, and bronze medalists from the World Championships in 2011, and also some of our medalists from the Vancouver Paralympic Games are among the group taking the start today in the men's visually impaired 20-kilometer race. It's going to be a long, very tiresome race, as the course conditions, as I mentioned, have been above the freezing mark for at least the last 24 to 25 hours, and they're calling for this warm spell to continue for about another 20 hours or so. So the ground crew's having to do a lot of work to keep this course up to par. Luckily, a lot of snow falling in the weeks prior to the event, and we are looking at some sub-zero temperatures coming up over the next few days and into the nights. That was one of the particular situations. It did not go below freezing last night, so having it to groom at the right time in the right way is always very important. So there we are, our first competitor of the day, coming from the People's Republic of China. This is Liu Zhanghui, and he will be taking off at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. The starts will be 30-second intervals today, as they have been throughout the first days of competition. So just a reminder, yesterday, Roman Petushkov picking up another gold medal in the sit-ski long distance, and it was quite an event as he battled off his teammates and also some very staunch opposition from the Norwegians also in that race. But once again, Roman Petushkov being on the top of the podium. So here we go. This is our course for today. It will be 4 times around this course that has between the 1 and 2 kilometer marker there, a lot of ups and downs. And for the women, it will be 3 times around this 5-kilometer course for a total of 15 Ks. Once again, it is in the free technique, the skating technique today, and the skaters are out and ready. They have been practicing out on course. Wax testing been done by the teams here in Sollefteå. So it's going to be a group starting at 10 here, going to about 10:13 for our men's standing. Then starting at 10:20 through to about 10:28, we'll then go into our starts for our blind and visually impaired. And the ladies will get underway around 11:30 this morning and end with our, well, not end, but our last lady to leave the starting gate will be Elena Remizova, and that is in the blind visually impaired, the gold medalist from 2011 in Russia. She will be the last skier out of the start gate this morning for these long distance events of these 2013 IPC Nordic World Championships from Sollefteå, Sweden. I think we're just about to start, as we can see there, Liu Zhanghui getting the start. And there we are. Sounding off is that buzzer for Liu. He is our first skier out. And let's see what time he will post. We will be following this at the 5, 10, 15, and 20K, which is the finish. So we'll have some intermediate times. Now, one of our skiers from Mongolia. They have been present at these World Championships for a few years. Very interesting story for the Mongolians. That is Ganbold Batmuk. And a lot of pride for them being here and taking the start. Our third competitor is from the People's Republic of China, Tian Ye. Off goes Ye, right in front of his countrymate. A man that had his international debut right here in Sweden in 2009. And he comes from Harbin in the People's Republic of China. This is Du Haitao. There we go. Du in the LW 5-7. No upper body limbs. So his time will be factored once again in para-Nordic, as in many para-sports. The times factored based on their classification, the sports class in which they compete. We'll get into that further in the morning here. Another skier from Mongolia now, Dugasuren Ganbata, is off. Skiing in the LW6 sports class. And we go back to the start, this time with another skier from the LW6 class. This is Zhu Dexin. Now we go to the start. This is LW2 Japanese skier Kenji Takigami. Look of focus here. Good start for Takigami. And trying to stay warm in the wind here is from the People's Republic of China. This is Cheng Shi-shui. As you can see, going off in the skating technique. It is once again 4 laps around this 20K course. And it'll be a straight up finish the last half kilometer with a lot of climbing. Now to the start. This is Argentina's Pablo Javier Robledo. So 19 nations, over 300 athletes taking part in this 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. And our next starter will be from Belarus, Siarhe Silchanka. You can just hear from the sound of the skis on the snow, very sticky. The technicians having to do some work this morning. As now we'll have from the Ukraine, Vitaly Sitnik. Sitnik now on course, and he will be followed by his countrymate, Ole Lesishin. There now is Lesichin getting ready to go. He will be the 12th skier of 26 out of the gate. There he goes. Ole Lesichin. So one good thing is the wind has slightly died down here in the stadium. Not as gusty as it was yesterday or this morning. And now waiting for his start is Deutschland's, Germany's Tino Uhlig. So Uhlig, the 13th of 26 skiers. Now off with Kiichi Sato, was part of the race in Vancouver, ending up 17th on that day in 2010. Now taking the start de la France, from France, this is Yannick Bourseau. Alors pour Bourseau, c'est un départ 4 fois 5 km pour un total de 20. Et Bourseau qui a déjà remporté une médaille de bronze au championnat du monde en biathlon. Alors on le verra fort probablement à l'œuvre plus tard cette semaine dans cette épreuve du 12,5 km. Et il semblerait que son compatriote, M. Davier, n'est pas du départ. So we'll be scratching, it looks like, Benjamin Davier. Et nous allons aller... Non, pardon, c'est Azat Karuchurin. Alors que maintenant, nous allons du côté de Ihor Reptyok, will be our next skier from the Ukraine. And looking to be either Davier or Karachurin or both. That did not take the start this morning, as we did not get a visual. But Reptyok is on his way. LW8 skier, so 97% of factoring in. And the skier now is in the stadium, so they're starting just out of the stadium and making their way around and then up that climb into the wooded area. And now for Norway, Norge's Hakon Osrud. LW8. As we see now, Osrud coming through the stadium. And off he goes on course. Now skiing at home. The bronze medalist of this event, or I should say skiing at home at the start of the season. And now on course, Ika Tomisto from Finland, Suomi, bronze medalist in 2011 at the World Championships in Russia. Had a good go in the sprints the other day. Tuomisto off on course, attacking this 20K adventure today. Tuomisto ending up in 6th in the sprints 2 days ago. Now we are getting into our heavy hitters of the day. These will be some of the men we need to pay attention to as we go through the different timing spots. So our intermediate timing spots at 5, 10, 15 Ks. And off we go with Oleg Balukto, biathlon bronze medalist in the 7.5K individual race. What will he be able to post here today in this 20K race? Probably one of those skiers getting ready for the biathlon competitions. And but still, Balukto going very strong, 5th in the sprints the other day. Now we just saw Rushan Minigulov. So we do have a couple of starts, and my apologies, Balukto was one of those non-starters. Vladislav Lekomtsev also was a non-starter. So who we saw a few seconds ago, number 23, was Kirill Mikhailov. Then we saw Minigulov, Ruslan, who was silver in the sprint and 5th in Vancouver in this race. Now going out is number 25, Vladimir Kononov. And Vladimir Kononov, bronze in Vancouver during this 20K event. So let's see what he will be able to post here today. So we do have official non-starts. Benjamin Davier from France, de la France, n'était pas partant aujourd'hui. Azat Karuchurin from Russia also. Balukto and Lekomtsev. And here he goes, the man who is wearing the red bib of the IPC ranking leader. He is also a silver medalist in a photo finish sprint the other day against his rival. He was a silver medalist in this event in Russia in 2011. And he is taking over from Nils Erik Ulset as the leader of this Norwegian team. 8th in Vancouver. The economics student is looking for a 5th World Championship medal as he comes through here. And let's follow those times at the 5K mark. No athlete has made their way there yet, but it is a question of time. And the first skier we should see go through there will be Liu Jianhui from the People's Republic of China. And just a reminder, the prize-giving ceremonies will be at 5:30 tonight. We were sorry we announced them as being at 5:30 last night. However, we decided to wait and award the prizes from yesterday and today together for the long-distance events. So once again, at 5:30 Swedish time, we will be having our award ceremonies, and those will be broadcast live as these events are at the YouTube channel of Paralympic Sport TV. So that is youtube.com/Paralympic Sport TV, and you can follow our events and award ceremonies. We saw some of the grounds takers there, the technicians throwing a bit of salt on the course, biathlon course, not on this one. Reason being for that is we will create a bit of thawing during the day, and hopefully it will congeal and gel a bit more and harden the surface and create a base which is a much more solid and resilient as the ski traffic comes through the area here today. But biathlon coming up next week. It is going to be a busy week of skiing. Saturday, a small pause, but after that we go right through to the 5th of March right here in Sollefteå, Sweden, for the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. Welcome to one and all. A lot of spectators making their way out here today, as some people are on holiday here in Sweden. And the buses are making their way up from town. Our crew hard at work once again, getting the biathlon firing range ready for practice this afternoon. And also you can see there are athletes taking part in our next event, which will be the blind visually impaired 20K free technique race. Our first skiers starting around 10:20 this morning, and right there Håkan Axelsen will be one of our first starters. He will be the first starter with his guide Markus Femling. So they will be the first skiers out of the start area in the 20K free technique for blind and visually impaired athletes. So still no sign yet of our skiers at the 5K mark. And if we look back to what happened in Vancouver during this 20K men's standing event, Kirill Mikhailov was the winner in a time of 52 minutes 7 seconds. So that gives you an idea of what we can expect time-wise here today in Sollefteå. Nils Erik Ulset from Norway was second, and winning bronze, as we mentioned earlier on, Vladimir Kononov from Russia. As we now have a visual, this is Gunbold Batmunk from Mongolia. And not far behind him, this is Zhu Dexin from the People's Republic of China. And Liu Jianhui are our first skiers to come into view, as they are going to make their way into the stadium pretty soon. They have that descent that we see in the background, and then they'll climb up a bit and back into our main stadium here. We are using the biathlon portion of the stadium for these longer distance events. The start of the loop dipping down to the lower levels into the cross-country stadium. So here we are, coming into the stadium right now are our first athletes. And cheer them on, everybody, as we welcome our first skiers through on the first lap of 4. Once again, these are 5-kilometer laps, and Gunbold Batmunk is our first skier in there, wearing the yellow toque and blue skin suit. On his tail now is number 6 from the People's Republic of China, Zhu Dexin. And we also have coming into the stadium now, Liu Jianhui. So once again for Gunbold Batmunk, LW6, his factor will be 96% as he comes through. And there we see it right away. Our leader right now, Zhu Dexin, in a time of 15:32.5 after the factoring in. Gunbold Batmunk with a factor exactly the same as Zhu, as their LW6 athletes. 17 minutes 23, as Gunbold starting way before Zhu Dexin. Liu Jianhui coming through now, LW8, 18 minutes 39.7 his time after factoring in. And we go back to the start, as we will now be going into our men's blind visually impaired 20-kilometer free technique start. And starting in a few seconds for Sverige, Sweden, this is Håkan Axelsen and his guide Markus Femling. And there goes Håkan Axelsen. He is now on course, starting the action here for our skiers in the blind visually impaired 20-kilometer long-distance race today here in Sollefteå.
Go.
Second out will be Alexander Zaitsev from Russia, being guided today by Nikolai Prichin. Next up will be
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Erik Bay for Nordic, for Norway, with Torbjørn Pettersen, his guide. So same course for them, same distance, 20 kilometers, 4 times around that 5K loop. And right now our fastest skier in the men's standing event, Vitaly Shitnik from the Ukraine, coming through in a time of 14:31.7. Geichi Sato is the second, and Tino Ulhig from Germany is third. Now visual on the number 18 in the race, Ihor Repchuk. So again, this visual is what we are seeing on our TV monitors and what the planet is seeing, as we welcome you once again to Paralympic Sport TV live on YouTube. The world is watching Sollefteå today here, and they have been for the last few days, and we welcome you all. Guten Morgen. God morgon. Bon matin de Sollefteå ici en Suède. Alors, Yannick Bourseau qui vient de passer avec le meilleur temps maintenant chez les messieurs standing. Alors, chez les messieurs debout, c'est un temps de 14-14, une avance considérable à 17 secondes de son plus grand rival. So right now, Bourseau coming in with a time that is 17 seconds faster than Zitnik from the Ukraine. But we'll see here as we have Ihor Repchuk coming in. Et voilà le nouveau meilleur temps. First skier under 13 minutes on the 5K loop. Ihor Repchuk, as he posts a 13:47.5. 13:47.5. Repchuk, le plus rapide à ce point. And now a visual on Håkon Osrud from Norway. He'll be one of our next athletes to come through here. Still the best time belonging to Ihor Repchuk. Yannick Bourseau deuxième. Vitaly Zitnik third en troisième. And watch out, here comes Olsrud. What will be his time? Will he be able to break into the top 3? Yes, he has. So Håkon Olsrud is third right now, but he is 31 seconds slower than Ihor Repchuk. He has his work cut out for him. So it is Repchuk, Bourseau, Olsrud. Après 5 kilometers, still some of our top skiers to come, and one of them making his way right now into the stadium is Finland's Ika Tuomisto. A bronze in 2011 in this event. What will be his time as he makes his way into the stadium? And there we are, he is second best, but still 14 seconds off the pace of Repchuk. So Mika Tuomisto is 14.5 seconds behind Repchuk. Bourseau, 27 seconds. Bourseau a 27 secondes du temps de Repchuk. Osrud, 31 seconds. And Zitnik, 44. But here comes Kirill Mikhailov, the gold medalist from Vancouver. And the gold medals also in this event during the World Championships in Russia in 2011. So watch this, very interesting. As he comes up, some of the blind, visually impaired skiers right behind them will have to be very respectful of their countrymate and not block him in his adventure. So coming through here, Kirill Mikhailov is 16 seconds slower than Ihor Repchuk. So Repchuk is still in the lead. Ika Tuomisto is the second. And Kirill Mikhailov is now in third. And we go back to the start line of our blind visually impaired race. And this is Nikolai Hoylukin. And he is one of the forces to reckon with in this race.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And off he goes. Silver medalist in 2011 in the men's blind visually impaired race. Now at the start, his countrymate, this is Stanislav Choklaev, and his guide Maxim Pirogov. Only two more athletes to take the start, and Rushan Minegulov has just passed, 8 seconds behind Ihor Repchuk in the men's standing race. So after 5Ks, but we have a new leader, Vladimir Kononov from Russia, is 41 seconds faster than Repchuk. And off goes now in the men's blind visually impaired race, Brian McKeever, gold medalist in the 20K event in 2011 in Russia. It was won a gold medal this year in Cable, Wisconsin during a 30K event. And as you all know, could be one of the forces to reckon with, but this young man here, silver in Cable, Wisconsin, one of the bright stars of Sveriges, of Sweden's Paralympic team. This is Sebastian Modin and his guide Albin Akerut. So they are now on course. All our blind visually impaired men have now started, and we'll be keeping a close eye on what is happening in that race, as we have been after 5 kilometers with the men's standing. So Vladimir Kononov is taking the lead, and in commanding fashion. He is a full 41.7 seconds faster than any of his rivals right now. Ihor Repchuk is in second. Rushan Minegulov is in third, but almost 50 seconds behind him. So there's a lot of work to be done for these men as they are on the tracks of Vladimir Kononov, but still a lot of racing to go. They have 15 more Ks out of this 20K race today. We've had some great racing over the last few days, so here we go. Kononov, Repchuk, Minegulov, Tuomisto, Mikhailov, the gold medalist once again from Vancouver and from the Russian World Championships 2 years ago, is sitting in a top 5 spot, which is still very comfortable for him. And we will wait for our results in at the 10K marker, which will tell the story once again. And we will then turn our attentions to the passing at the 5K mark of our blind and visually impaired athletes. A long day of racing once again here in Sollefteå. But oh, how interesting. And right now, these have been Russia's World Championships, as they've taken many top spots, have also swept some podiums. So revenge for the other nations is the word of the day. But once again, a lot of camaraderie and great sportsmanship here, live from the Sollefteå, Sverige, Sweden, and the Halsta Skids Station for the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. And we welcome you all on this third day of competition. And we have just seen our last athletes take the start in the men's 20K free technique blind, visually impaired class, and we should see our standing men coming up to the 10K mark of 20. So for our web spectators, that is a view from the biathlon stadium here, looking down into Sollefteå. And here we go, some images from our start earlier on. Håkon Osrud from Norway. Ika Tuomisto, one of the contenders here today, if he is to have a good day. Sixth, probably disappointed from his sprints a couple of days ago. By far the man that everybody's expecting to be on the top spot here today, Kirill Mikhailov, winning the Vancouver Paralympic Games and World Championships at home in 2011. However, he's going to have to contend with the silver medalist from the sprint and up-and-comer Rushan Minegulov, number 24 here. And never say never when it comes to Vladimir Kononov, and we've seen that after 5 kilometers as he has already taken the lead, and by a commanding 41.7 seconds. But one of the great Norwegian skiers here this weekend, Vegard Dale, is on course, and as we speak, sitting in 7th, a full minute and 12 seconds behind, but he is a slower starter. And now we saw a few of our athletes, Polukin, Choklev for the Russian team, gold medalist in 2011, and at the games for Canada, Brian McKeever, definitely one of the favorites here today, and home favorite, Sebastian Modin, looking for a good placing here as he won a silver medal in a 30K race in Cable, Wisconsin earlier this year, right behind Brian McKeever of Canada. The IPC flag floating proud and high here today in Sollefteå, as the winds are still present, not as predominant as they were yesterday, where we had gusts way up into the 80 kilometer an hour range. Looking at the biathlon, for those of us watching via the web, a beautiful shot of the biathlon range that will be used as of tomorrow. We will have our first competitions in biathlon right here tomorrow, as we see some of our skiers getting ready in the ladies blind and visually impaired race. And also a note for our athletes, the bibs are now available. Bibs have been available downstairs in the race office. So bibs are available for the guides. If they have not been picked up, please do so immediately. So we are back with our skiers now in the men's standing 20K freestyle. First one to appear, number 11, Vitaly Zhitnik. And Zhitnik for 5K came through with the 9th best time. Let's see what he'll be able to accomplish here. Being followed closely at this point by Zhu Dexin, who after 5Ks sat in 14th place. And as you can see, getting warm already out there for the athletes as they have started to roll up the sleeves. Not even at the 10K mark. We do have still 6 degrees Celsius, and that is probably down in the valley. Up here with the wind maybe dropping a couple of degrees, no more. So just in the high 30 Fahrenheits. There we go. We'll have now our second intermediate time here after 10 kilometers for our men's standing. So Zhitnik completing the 10K in 29:06. also have our first 5K mark for our skiers in the blind and visually impaired. And first one through will be Alexander Zaitsev. I've just been told that Alexander Artemov did not start for Russia. So for Zaitsev, it is a time of 14:58. 14:58.4. And right now we have Zhitnik, Silchanka, and Zhu. Top three skiers coming through in the men's standing class. Zaitsev in the second right now, so he's posted a 14:58. Eric Bai posting a 15:18 in third. And in the lead, Ukraine's Yaroslav Rishetinsky. So Rishetinsky is now in first with a time of 14:08.6. Or that would be Rishetinsky. So Rishetinsky in first by 49 seconds at this point. Håkan Axelsson from Sweden looking at a fourth place after 5 of 20 kilometers, a time of 16:15. Oh, look at this. Anatoly Kovaletsky from the Ukraine, 13 minutes 16 seconds. He is a full 51 seconds faster. Anatoly Kovalevsky from the Ukraine now taking the lead from Rishetinsky. So this is a close race by the Ukrainian skiers. So the Ukraine 1-2. Filip Spitsin from Russia coming in third, but 56 seconds off the pace. So Ihor Reptyuk, right now in our men's standing category, is the fastest skier through a 10K with a 27:40. Yannick Bourseau deuxième, 28:10. Vitaly Zhitnik in third. Keiji Sato in fourth. Tino Ulig in fifth. Those are our top 5 skiers. But the best time belonging to Reptyuk, 27:40 for 10 kilometers. And our blind visually impaired, Kovalevsky, Shapsiaboy. So Shapsiaboy, one of the top skiers in Vancouver in this event, right up there. He was the bronze medalist in Vancouver. Yuri Utkin now in third place, posting a 13:46, still 29 seconds off the pace of Kovalevsky from the Ukraine. Shapsiaboy from Belarus, 13:34.6, 17 seconds off the pace of Kovalevsky. Yuri Utkin in third, 13:46. That is at the 5K mark for the visually impaired men. Ihor Reptyuk, the fastest at the 10K mark for men's standing. Yannick Bourseau deuxième. Håkan Olsrud now going by in third. But right as we say that, Ika Tuomisto from Finland is now moved into third. He is 38.6 seconds slower than Ihor Reptyuk. So the best time here, 27:40.2 by Ihor Reptyuk. Yannick Bourseau deuxième, 28:10.1, 28:10.1 for Bourseau. And Ika Tuomisto, 28:11.8. Those are our top 3 in the men's standing. Nikolai Polyukin is now coming in first place after 5K in the visually impaired race. So Polyukin is now first with a 12:52. He is the first skier under 13 minutes. Kovalevsky is second. Shapsiaboy is third. Watch out, some of our top skiers still coming in the men's blind visually impaired. Brian McKeever is 12 seconds off the pace of Polyukin, as he has just clocked a 13:04.4 with his guide Eric Carlton. So it is Polyukin, McKeever, Kovalevsky in that order here today. And 5Ks completed for the leaders here in the blind, visually impaired 20K men's freestyle race. Now Rushan Minegulov is taking the lead in the men's standing. He's posted a 27-21-1. He is 19 seconds faster than Ihor Reptyok. Yannick Bourseau, troisième maintenant, 28-10, 1, 28-10-1. So the next skier to come in the visually impaired category, we should see very soon Sebastian Modine. Once again, Ulukin, McKeever, Kovalevski, those are our top three. Thomas Clarion maintenant pour la France avec son guide de Julien Bourla. Clarion 6e à 55 secondes des meneurs, so 55 seconds off the pace. Stanislav Choklev has moved into third and pushed Kovalevski off the top three. So it is Polukin, McKeever, Choklev, now 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3 présentement, après 5 km, after 5 kilometers. Vladimir Kononov still in first, and look at this, he is a full minute and 20 seconds faster than Rushan Minegulov and a minute 39 faster than Ihor Reptyok from the Ukraine. So there we are, in first place after 10K in the standing event. Kolonov with a 26:01, the only skier under 27 minutes. Minegulov is in second, a full minute 20 behind, and a minute 39 behind is Ihor Reptyok. But here comes Vegar Dale, and disappointing for him right now. He is in 8th place. So Vegar Dale in 8th place right now, not where he expected to be. Don't forget, he was the silver medalist in 2011 in this race. Looking for a 5th World Championship medal. So officially, there we go. Kononov after a 10K. Minegulov, Reptyok, Bourseau, Tuomisto. But look at the time gaps between Kononov and his nearest rivals. Absolutely outstanding, and this is only after 10K. And if he keeps on growing that lead, Kononov will have this one in his back pocket. And the last skier we were looking for here in the men's blind and visually impaired race. And there he is, it is Sebastian Modine. Modine making it to the podium the other day in the sprint event with his countrymate Eliane Ripa, who also was a medalist the other day. Modine winning silver with Hakerut, and Ripa was a gold medalist in the sprint. So he is sitting in 11th right now. So Sebastian Modine of Sverige from Sweden is in 11th place, 1 minute and 27 seconds slower than our leader, Nikolai Polukin of Russia. Brian McKeever of Canada is 12 seconds behind, and Stanislav Choklev from Russia is 13 seconds behind. So we have a race for medals there. Very, very close in our men's visually impaired 20K, and that is after only 5K of racing. So you can imagine what it's going to be like as this race advances, and skiers tire out. So if we go back to our men's standing event, Kononov from Russia had a 41-second lead on Reptyok after 5 kilometers. Then at 10 kilometers, he has brought that lead up to 1 minute 20, and it is now his countrymate Rushan Minegulov who is in second, and Ihor Reptyok has fallen to third, but the time difference is 1:20 on Minegulov and 1:39 on Reptyok. Once again, those are factored in results. A good view here on our screens of number 19, Håkon Aasrud from Norway, pushing up at one of those long ascents on this course. Another skier looking very good today, Ika Tuomisto, top 5 at this point after 10 kilometers for Finland. Nice view of his freestyle technique. Rushan Minegulov, who's trying to chase down his teammate Koronov, but he's going to have a lot of work cut out for him. And right there, Kirill Mihailov on our screens for our webcast. The gold medalist from Vancouver and from 2011 is now sitting a full 2 minutes and 22 seconds off the pace of his countrymate Kononov. And there he is on screen, the man leading this race at a blistering pace. Vladimir Kononov of Russia. Still, he was the bronze medalist behind Ulset and Mihailov in Vancouver 2010. But today has definitely his sights set on a gold medal and a world championship title today in Sollefteå. And one man who was definitely not happy with his 2 first laps is this man here, Vigar Dale, picking up a sprint silver medal 2 days ago, but definitely not in the running right now, as Dale is sitting far behind in 8th place, 3 minutes off the pace, and it doesn't look like a 5th World Championship medal for him here today in Sollefteå. We are back with our standing athletes coming into the stadium now, and this once again is Monsieur Gan Batar from Mongolia, and he sets our first 15K mark as he has just made his way here into the stadium. Or my apology, he was just completing his 10K, so he is 17 minutes off the pace, being passed by our leaders, so we thought that that was our first competitor in, but quite to the contrary, he was our last one in. Dugersuren Ganbatar from Mongolia. Very interesting story. Our Mongolian friends making their way here. Their desire to take part in the 2014 Sochi Games. They have to travel and make it to some world-class events to get the points, to get the classification. And for some of these skiers, they do not even own an equipment. They have to borrow equipment, or it is lent graciously by other nations so they can compete here, and making their way to Sollefteå, and we are very happy to welcome them and have them join in the competition here today. And you look at there's the map here on our screens telling you the story of this course. So the start-finish area happening right here in the stadium, biathlon stadium. They will go down to the 1 kilometer mark. That is what we call the cross-country stadium in the lower portions. Then it is a very hilly up and down 1st to 2nd kilometer, relatively flat, I should say, 2nd to 3rd kilometer. Then they meander their way back down into the stadium to complete this 5K lap. And here we are with Vitaly Zhitnik. He will be our first skier through for 15 kilometers, as he has been over the last few laps. And we will also see our first skiers in the blind, visually impaired men's race coming up on their 10K mark. And look at the traffic there on our screens. They are visually impaired and standing athletes in that group all together. The coaching staff standing off to the sides, giving the information to the athletes, giving them time splits, coaching them on from the sidelines. And back, making their way over that little hump there into the stadium. And that is the transition area. Well, transition if a ski change is necessary. We call it more of a ski exchange zone. And right there, a visual on Yannick Bourseau. Alors, un visuel sur Yannick Bourseau qui fait son entrée dans le stade pour la France. Alors qu'on s'attend à voir maintenant Vitaly Zhitnik posting the fastest time. He's been 9th on laps number 1 and 2. He's posted the reference time now for lap number 3, 44:15, 44:15-3, le temps de référence. Philippe Spitsin, or just now Anatoly Kovalevsky, who was 4th after the first 5K. 27:18.6 is his time. Philippe Spitsin, 28:18. Ponomarev, 28:49. And Reshetinsky, 29:33. Eric Bai, 30:42. That's our top 5 right now. So the best time in after 10 kilometers for our visually impaired. Anatoly Kovalevsky of the Ukraine with a time of 27:18. He has a 1-minute lead on Philippe Spitsin and a 1:31 lead on Oleg Ponomarev of Russia. In the men's standing, we have Reptyuk, 42:01 after 15 kilometers. Yannick Bourseau, 42:37, en deuxième place présentement. And Siari Silchenka from Belarus was in third, has now been bumped down to 5th as Tino Ulig of Germany has come through, and Vitaly Zhitnik has been pushed down. And Ihor Reptyuk is still in the lead with a 42:01. He was 2nd after 5K, 3rd after 10K, and we'll see where he stands after 15 kilometers. So right now we have a new race as Brian McKeever has come through the 10K mark. He now has 19 seconds up on Nikolai Polukin, which was the reverse as they came through after a 5K. 12-second priority belonged to Polukin. Now it is McKeever who has a 19-second lead. Kovalevsky still in 3rd as he has posted a 1:37.4. Stanislav Choklev, however, has not made his way through here. He was 3rd after the first lap, first lap for our skiers in the blind visually impaired, but now making his way here through the stadium for his 3rd time, Ika Tuomisto. So he is 2nd. He's been 4th and 5th on laps 1 and 2. We still have some of the fastest skiers to come. Let's see where he will sit after this 3rd lap. Håkon Ulsrud from Norway is in 4th, 1.22 seconds behind. Let's see if that stands. He's ended up 8th and 7th over the last few laps. Here comes one of our fastest skiers of the day. There you are, still Rushan Minegulov has now posted the best time of 41:69 after 15 kilometers. So Rushan Minegulov is right up there as he has been over the last few laps. He was 3rd after 5K, 2nd after 10K. But he still was a minute and 20 seconds slower than his countrymate Vladimir Kononov. So we'll see how that stands. So in the blind visually impaired, still McKeever, Polukin, Kovalevsky, but we still don't have Choklev, who was in 3rd place last time around. Pablo Javier Robledo going through in 12th place for Argentina. So still the best time after 15 kilometers. Rushan Minegulov from Russia, bronze medalist of our sprint 2 days ago. looking for another trip to the podium here today in Sollefteå in this long distance free skate 20 kilometer men's standing class. And now here comes Kirill Mikhailov. What will be his time for the Paralympic gold and defending world champion? He is now dropped to 6th, a place that he owned on the last lap. And he's a full 2 minutes and 8 seconds slower than Minegulov. So he was 5th after 5K, 6th after 10K, and presently still in 6th, but we still have not seen a couple of the fastest skiers, and Vladimir Kononov is one of them as he makes his way into the stadium. Is the bronze medalist from Vancouver on his way to a world championship. He is 5 kilometers away from finding that out. Going very strong as he makes his way into the stadium is Vladimir Kononov of Russia. And watch out in front of him, if I'm not mistaken, is Choklev in the blind, visually impaired class. Yep, Stanislav Choklev. What will be his time? He was 3rd after the 5K mark. Let's see if he's kept that position. Yes, so Stanislav Choklev of Russia is still 3rd, 44 seconds off the pace of Brian McKeever, and about 30 some odd seconds off the pace of his countrymate Polukin. So it's going to be a race here for the top 3 spots in the men's visually impaired 20K race. So Vladimir Kononov has grown his lead now to 1 minute and 46 seconds. So on the first lap, he had 41 seconds up on Ihor Reptyuk. At the 10K mark, he had 1 minute and 20 seconds up on Minegulov. Now at the 15K mark, he has a full minute and 46 seconds up on Minegulov and 2 minutes and 31 seconds up on Ihor Reptyuk. So this is a domination by Vladimir Kononov today, and Russia staring down at another gold medal today at the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. One man who's struggling here today, silver medalist from 2011, is Vigar Dale. So Vigar Dale coming through in 8th, so he is 4 minutes and 42 seconds off the pace of Kononov, so he will not be a factor for the title today in Sollefteå, as they are completing their 3rd of 4 laps in the men's standing. Visually impaired class has completed 10 kilometers of 20, so 2 laps of their race, with McKeever, Polukin, and Choklev in that order. Now back into our men's standing. That was Tian Ye and his countrymate Liu Jinhui, and they are respectively 18th and 19th. So a lot of spectators making their way up here today to the Sollefteå Stadium. Some of our coaching staff discussing strategies as we now see Sebastian Modin from Sweden. And his guide off the front there, you can hear him shouting out the directives, guiding his athlete Modin as Albin Hakkerot. So we'll see if Modin can hang on to a medal hope today, as he comes through here at the 10K mark. It was a bit harder for him in this event, as he was 11th after 5K. Let's see where he sits after 10Ks. And Modin has now climbed to 9th place, so picking up 2 spots is Sebastian Modin of Sverige, of Sweden. So after 10 Ks, it is Brian McKeever, Nikolai Polukin, and Stanislav Choklev. Kowalewski pretty much off of the podium contention as he sits a full minute 37 behind. Thomas Clarion en 5e est à 2 minutes 6 du meneur et à 1 minute 20 d'un podium. Alors ce sera très difficile pour lui de s'y retrouver aujourd'hui. And we will see how things fare for our friends Kononov, Minegulov, and Reptyuk in the men's standing event as they are out on their last lap of 4. Once again, it is a 5K lap, and a 20K race for them. And there we have the standings on the screen. Kononov coming by after 15 Ks in a time of 39:30.7. Minegulov is a full minute and 46 seconds behind. Reptyuk 2 minutes 31. So unless Kononov runs into a disastrous moment here, he will be our world champion of the men's standing class. Once again, those are classes LW2 through 9 for men. Now we have a visual coming in to the stadium now for a grand finale. No, I'm sorry, this will be the Japanese skiers 15K, yes, Kenji Takigami. So he still has 1 more lap to go, 5K to go for Kenji. And a reminder for everybody, we will be live this afternoon at 5:30 p.m. Sweden time for our prize giving ceremony. So we invite you to join us once again on the web for our 5:30 prize giving ceremonies. It's 5:30 Sweden time, as we will honor our winners from yesterday's sit-ski events and also our winners from our standing categories today in these long distance races. So we'll welcome to the podium once again Roman Petushov and Andrea Escao, winning the women's sit-ski event. The 3-time Paralympic medalist in paracycling, now a world champ in cross-country skiing. Now visual here on Du Haitao from China. And he'll be completing his 15-kilometer in a few seconds as he just makes his way up here into the stadium. And we should see fairly soon our visually impaired men making their way here to complete 15 kilometers. There we go. As we mentioned it is the case. The first one coming by looks to be Oleg Ponomarev. And he is skiing today with Artem Veselov as they just go by Du Haitao now. So they are into the stadium as they go by this ski exchange area. So he will be setting the reference time for 15 kilometers. And what will it be here? Ponomarev was the 6th skier out of the start in the men's long distance event. But oh, look at this. Barreling down once again is Brian McKeever. And he has Kowalewski right in front of him. And he is now going to go around and also going around Philippe Spitzin. So Ponomarev going through in a time of 42.42.1. However, that is will be way off the pace of this man's time as he makes it through here. We'll see what his lead is. Last time around, he had 19 seconds up on his closest rival. And right now, it is a time of 38.44.9 for Brian McKeever. 2 minutes and 46 seconds up on Kovalevsky. We'll wait and see. Shapsia Boy now coming in at 2:25. So did Polukin. So Polukin is 28 seconds behind now, losing about 8 seconds on the last 5 kilometers to McKeever. So there is the story, and we just had a finish here in the men's standing event. As we've seen, Ihor Reptiuk come in at a time of 55.55.8 et Yannick Bourseau terminant en 56.46, deuxième présentement. Crossing the line now, Sierhe Silchanka from Belarus, third, 1 hour and 15 seconds. And if we go back to our visually impaired race just before we welcome our next skier in. So Choklev has just gone by, 45 seconds off the pace of McKeever, 25 seconds off the pace of Polukin. Vitaly Zhitnik for Belarus is presently third. So the blind visually impaired skiers have started their last lap of 5Ks. Now making his way is Tino Ulig from Germany. We'll see what Ulig's time is. So it is Reptiuk, Bourseau, Zhitnik, top 3, top 3 en ce moment. So a last few pushes here. And as you can see from our camera angle and for our spectators in the stadium, that is a pretty steep ascent for a finish. So they have to climb up here and make it to the finish line, which is still a few meters after the crest of that climb. So for Tino Ulig, it will be a time of 4 minutes slower than Reptiuk, but he is now in fourth, 59.59.4. He's still under 1 hour. Watch out here, this is gonna be a fast time for Ika Tuomisto. He is second, just 24 seconds off the pace of Reptiuk. So Ika Tuomisto, but barreling down now is Rushan Minegulov of Russia, as he knows that he can post a new best time, and that is exactly what he does. So Rushan Minegulov ending up with a time of 55.07.1, 48 seconds faster than Ihor Reptiuk. Kiichi Sato, 7th right now. Coming up is Håkan Olsrud in 5th place, 57.53.0. So Rushan Minegulov has to worry about only one man, and that is Vladimir Kononov of Russia. But last time around, he had 1 minute and 46 seconds up on the time that had been set by Rushan Minegulov. So we are looking for Vladimir Kononov to make his way here to the finish line very soon and probably be our world champion. Let's wait and see. Now we have a visual on Ole Lesishin of the Ukraine. As they climb up, Zhu Dexin also right in front of him, and really having to give it after 19 some odd kilometers. You still got to go and give at the end. And for Zhu Dexin, it is a time here of 1 hour, 4 minutes, 32 seconds. Ole Lesishin, 1:02.21. 10th presently. So Minegulov is our leader with a time of 55.071 factored to that. Ihor Reptiuk 55.55.8. Ika Tuomisto 56.20. But here comes Kirill Mikhailov. And for Mikhailov, it has not been the day he expected. He was 5th after 5K, 6th after 10K, 7th after 15K. So the defending world champ really had his work cut out for him in the last 5 kilometers. Does he have it in him to bring it up here to the finish line and hope for a top 3? It is going to be extremely difficult for him today to do that. What will be his time? He is 6th, so picking up 1 rank at this point, but with still Kononov not in, that should drop to 7th place. So for Mihailov, it will be a disappointing 7th place for him. 58:01.9 is his time today here in the men's standing free technique 20-kilometer race. So a reminder for our people who are watching and following our visually impaired race, Brian McKeever has a 28-second lead on Nikolai Polukin after 15 kilometers and 2 minutes and 25 seconds up on Vasily Shapsiaboy from Belarus. But here we are. We now have a visual on Vladimir Kononov. The bronze medalist from Vancouver has been extraordinary. He has been in a league of his own today, first throughout the whole race, growing his lead lap after lap, and that is exactly what he's going to keep on doing as he has his sights set on a world championship, and he is going to squash the competition's time, obliterate the competition's time. Look at that, 52:50.6. He is 2 minutes and 16 seconds faster than Rushan Minegulov and 3 minutes faster than Ihor Reptyuk on the podium today. And the world champ from Russia, Vladimir Kononov from Russia, proud member of a world-class group who have been taking many podiums this week and world championships. Vigar Dale. So for Vigar, it will be a difficult day here as he will not be making it to the podium at the end. It will be an 8th place finish for Vigar Dale, a man who was silver medalist in the event in 2011. So not a 5th world championship podium for him today, but still gave it all he had. And you can tell right there by the body language, he is spent, totally spent. No more coal in the stove. So Vigar will take a well-deserved rest here. So Vladimir Kononov, Rushan Minegulov, and Ihor Reptyuk in that order for our podium today in the men's standing 20K event. And now to the visually impaired event, we have Brian McKeever, Nikolai Polukin, and Stanislav Choklev, our top 3. And we are waiting now to get a visual on that group as they will be coming through here to complete the race. They probably have, I'd say maybe less than 2 kilometers to go. And don't forget, we have 2 more starts, and one of them will be at 11:30 this morning, and that will be our women's standing 15K free technique race. So ladies, don't forget to give yourself enough time to make it your way down there and collect your timing chip. As we see right now, Vladimir Kononov, our world champ in the men's free technique 20K race. A happy man, Vladimir, today, waving to the crowd and saying hi to people back home as we are live around the world on Paralympic Sport TV at the 2013 IPC World Championships. And there we saw Ganbold Batmonk from Mongolia, who'll be completing his 20K race. He was 18th through the 15K portion of the race, making his way up the last climb past the ski exchange zone. Being chased and cheered on by one of the coaching staff from Mongolia. Quite an impressive feat. Top 20 here for some of these athletes that have had to borrow equipment to make it to this event. And for Ganbold Batmonk, 16th place right now with a time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, 53 seconds of pure exertion and hard work. So congratulations. And we should also see very soon Cheng Xishui from China making his way here to the finish line. And it is a balmy 6 degrees Celsius for the athletes today. Sebastian Modin going through the stadium here, 10th place right now in the men's standing visually impaired, race. So Cheng Xishui coming in 16th place, 1 hour 10:42. Our next skier to the line will be the People's Republic of China's skier Liu Jianhui. "26 skiers took the start in this event. We now have 17 who have crossed the line already, our 18th to come. A correction, that was 22 skiers that took the start in this event. 4 did not start. And for Liu Jianhui, and watch out, here we have our winner of today's men's blind visually impaired 20-kilometer race and world champion. Once again, picking up a medal here today in Sollefteå from Canada, Brian McKeever and his guide, Eric Carlton. So the Canadian duo picking up another medal here in Sollefteå at the World Championships. Another great honor for McKeever and Carlton. Now it will be a question of who is second. We had at the 15K mark, Nikolai Polukin. I'll see what he's able to register here as we have Oleg Ponomarev. What will be Ponomarev's time here as he makes it to the finish line? Ponomarev being led on by Artem Veselov. So for Ponomarev, it is a time of 56:40, 5:21 off of the pace of McKeever and Carlton. But this is the gentleman we were looking for. What will be his time? He is second. So Nikolai Polukin will be picking up a silver medal today as he is 57.9 seconds off the pace of our winners. Shopsiaboy now for the Belarus team. What will be his time as he comes over in a time of 54:33. But a reminder, Stanislav Shoklev has still not come through. He has been third pretty much throughout the race. And that will be the time to follow here, as now we see Anatoly Kovalevsky, who's battled very, very hard to stay in contention for a medal, but he will be fourth. And right there, Filip Spitsin of Russia is sixth. So it's standing right now, McKeever, Polukin, Shopsiaboy, Kovalevsky, Ponomarev, Spitsin, but we once again still have not seen the man who's been third throughout the race, Stanislav Choklev and Maxim Pirogov, his guide. Back to our standing class. A visual on our screens from Kenji Takigami of Japan, finishing a last-ditch effort, and he, with that prosthetic leg, as you can understand, has completed this race in the classic style, contrary to the free technique. So probably with that prosthetic leg, not a possibility to have a joint movement or power in the lower leg area. So for Kenji, it will be a time here at the finish line looking to be a 1 hour, 12 minutes, 13 seconds, good for 17th today for Kenji Takigami. This visual we now have on our next finisher, Erik Bay from Norway, with Torbjorn Pettersen, his guide, men's visually impaired class. And Bay has been sitting, he's went from 14th, 13th, 12th on the last pass through here, and let's see where he ends up today, as he will cross the line just over the 1 hour, 1 minute mark. He will be 7th, so a good finale by Norway's Erik Bay. And Yuri Yutkin pushing him down to 8th, as he's completed it under an hour. So Yuri Yutkin with Vatili Kazakov complete the event in 57 minutes, 48 seconds for a 7th place finish right now. So Yuri Yutkin seems to be satisfied with that performance today. Again, our ladies just about to start here, as we have now Alexander Zaitsev and Nikolai Prichkin, his guide, making their way towards the finish line. And Zaitsev has been 13th, 14th over the last 2 laps. And the wind really picking up here in the stadium. So those huge gusts of wind will be a factor in our ladies' race coming up very soon, as we've seen the banners here almost pushed to the ground. So very hard finale as the athletes come up that last little crest, or that last little hill, and then crest face first into the sun. And there, right there, number 32, Alexander Zaitsev, completing his event today, as the crowd cheers him on. And you can see those banners on the screen. They are really blowing at this point. So for Zaitsev, it will be 9th place with a 1:02:11, 1 hour 02:11. Good for 9th right now. Now the Ukrainian skier Yaroslav Reshetinsky. Reshetinsky bringing it here to the line, and it will be a final time just over an hour for Reshetinsky. And he will be posting a time of 1 hour 02:30, good for 10th place, so a top 10 for Yaroslav here today. At this point, we still have a few skiers to come. Back to some images here of our standing skiers. In this case, Du Haitao. Has a few more meters to go as he now approaches the last turn and ascent here into the biathlon stadium, making his way to the finale of his 20-kilometer race. Then we'll go to our women's start at 11:30. We're just about 4 to 5 minutes away from Arleta Duciak from Poland. Our sprint gold medalist and world champion from Sverige, Sweden, Eleni Ripa, will be second to take the start. And Yurika Abe from Japan will be part of our top 3, or our first 3 skiers, I should say, in the women's 15K free technique standing class. So I think Du Haitao has taken the wrong course there, so somebody should advise him down there. And now we are seeing Alexei Toropov making his way to the finish line in the blind visually impaired. So Toropov crossing in a time of 1 hour 26 seconds. So Toropov is in 8th. There's the man we've been waiting for on screen and making his way into the stadium, Stanislav Choklaev, as Choklaev has been a contender for the 3rd spot. Will he be able to beat here Vasily Shapsiaboy over the first 3 intermediate times? He's been 3rd and 3rd, 1 minute off the pace of McKeever's time, but watch out. He is making his way to the finish line, and this is looking good for a performance for him today in our visually impaired, and it will be a 3rd place, 52-52-7 for Stanislav Choklaev and Maxim Pirogov. So for Choklaev, it is a bronze medal performance today. He is held on to that 3rd spot and finishing in 3rd with a time of 39:50.5. So our winner today in a time of 51:18, Brian McKeever with his guide Eric Colton. Polukin comes in 2nd with his guide Andrei Tokarev. Stanislav Choklaev and Maxim Porogov are in 3rd. And we're going to go see our friend Eva as she is with our world champion and gold medalist Brian McKeever.
Brian, congratulations on the gold medal today. How did it feel on the course?
That was pretty good today. I think Eric set a really good pace on the first lap, and we just tried to ski comfortably and make sure that we were under control and give us some room to move if we had to pick up some time. And we were behind early. We knew that was okay. We just started to pick it up towards the middle and through to the end.
How were the snow conditions for you today?
They're very good. It was pretty fast out there. A little bit dirty, so slowing down. But I think our ski technicians did a fantastic job. We had unbelievable skis.
So you made it 2 out of 2 now. What are your goals for the rest of the championships? Any more gold medals?
Actually, we're leaving tomorrow, so we're heading to Salem for the Vasaloppet, and so we're hoping to have a good race there and try and stay with some of those big boys there.
All right, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
So Eva talking with our world champion here today. 2 out of 2, as she mentioned. They will be now turning their attention to the rest of the season, preparation for the test event coming up in Sochi for the Paralympic Games. So congratulations once again to our world champion here today in the men's blind visually impaired 20-kilometer free skate technique or free technique here at Soleftio. We are getting ready now for the start of our women's 15K free technique standing. Once again, Arleta Dudziak will be the first one out. Eliane Ripa from Sweden will be 2nd. Eureka Abe. And this is 15 kilometers. It will be 3 times around the same course as the men. It is a 5-kilometer loop. And there we go. They are now on course. Women's race started here at the World Championships. A bit windier for the women than it was for the men this morning. As you can see there, jackets, bibs blowing around. It'll be more of an issue in the stadium area, as many the athletes have mentioned. Not an issue while out in the woods. So we may have had a non-start here for Helene Ripa. So there we have is Eureka Abe from Japan, keeping those back muscles warm. They have been standing at the start for a few minutes. Off she goes, and 30 seconds after that, we'll have the Ukraine's Irina Bue. So there's Irina. Taking off for the Ukraine. 9 skiers. 10 were slated to start. Yene Ripa not appearing at the start, so after her gold medal and world championship, maybe qualified for Sochi and not needing to race, or recuperating still at this point. Belarus's Larisa Varona on course now. She was the silver medalist in the sprint event 2 days ago. Let's see how she fares in the long distance event. Momoko Dekejima for Japan, our 6th athlete out of the start gate. She takes off for this 15K adventure through here at the Sollefteå site. Maija Järvelä for Suomi, for Finland, getting ready to go. She hears the beep, and that means go. Green means go. Ending up in 6th in the sprint the other day. 3 more skiers to come in this women's 15K free technique distance event. And now we'll see from the Ukraine, Yulia Batenkova. A woman who's used to podiums, and especially in this event, as she won gold in 2011, just in front of Batenkova. This is Alexandra Kononova of the Ukraine. 4th in Vancouver, but jumping up a few spots the year after in Russia at the last World Championships. And now we go to the leader of the IPC ranking, Anna Milenina. Wearing that red bib, she is off on course. And now it is all about pacing yourself, making yourself comfortable as much as you can, and dealing with the elements for 15 kilometers of free technique. They are off. So we have a good visual here on Milenina. She'll want to do much better in this event. 7th in the sprint. I'm sure that's not where she wanted to be, but we'll see. It is a one-day event, a one-shot deal, as we say. And we have our official results now on the board. Kononov 52 minutes 50. Minegulov 2 minutes and 16 seconds behind for silver. Reptyuk ending up in 3rd. And a bronze medal 3 minutes and 5 seconds off the pace. That just goes to show you how fast Kononov was today. Tuomisto finishing in 4th. Bourseau en 5e in 5th. So a very, very fast race for our champion here today. Kononov And he took it from a bronze in Vancouver to a gold medal at the World Championships in Sollefteå. And we're going to get ready very soon for the start of our women's blind visually impaired class. As they are only a few minutes away from the start, we can see some of the guides warming up. But we go back to our highlight reel here. And we see there Rushan Minegulov ending up top 3. And Vladimir Kononov, the man who dictated the pace throughout the race and made it another top spot on the podium for Russia, who have dominated here this week. Vladimir Kononov, as we mentioned, bronze in Vancouver. We'll know what he will have his sights set on in 1 year's time in Sochi. Actually, in 2 weeks' time, they will be on their way to a test event in Sochi, so that will be a very important moment for them. Yannick Bourseau de la France from France, finishing there as one of his adversaries, giving it all in this race. Number 18, Ior Reptiok. So Reptiok is still faring pretty good despite his pain, as he went to get bronze here today. Minegulov, knowing that silver was his only objective, as his teammate Vladimir Kononov had put so much time between him and the gold medal, that silver was the color. But there he is, the world champ, in great shape, making his way to the finish line with style and grace. He will be honored later this afternoon. Vladimir Kononov, world champ in the men's 20K free technique event. I remind you, at 5:30 Sollefteå time in Sweden, we will have live on the youtube.com/Paralympic Sport TV the award ceremonies. Then after that got underway our racing in the men's blind visually impaired 20 kilometers with we saw Polukin, Choklev, Brian McKeever. These three were favored in this race. Choklev, knowing the time at this point of his adversaries, fighting to stay on the podium, something he did accomplish in the end, as he picked up a bronze medal, yes, 1 minute and 5 seconds off the pace of Brian McKeever. But Polukin still in the chase. A very difficult day for him, 28.6 seconds off the pace of these two men here, Brian McKeever from Canada and his guide, Eric Carlton. They had it, it was packaged, they were ready, and they took it to the next level, but still only a 28.6 second advantage for McKeever and Carlton. But 2 races, 2 championships for them. So congratulations to Brian McKeever and Eric Carlton. Now there we go, our blind and visually impaired race is starting. We'll start with our team from Belarus. This is Yadvia Skorobahataya and her guide Vadzim Kazarkevich.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now for the Ukraine, Oksana Shishkova and her guide Volodymyr Ivanov. The guide always making sure where his athlete is situated. Having to turn around a lot, it could be very difficult on one's neck and back to have to do that continuously. But that is what they train for.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Is a life of dedication for the guide as much as for the athlete. And as they train together, we see Yulia Budaleva and Tatiana Maltseva, her guide. They are now on course. .15 kilometers once again for these two ladies. And last,
5,
next to last, I should say,
3, 2,
is the silver medalist
go.
from 2011's World Championship in Russia, Mihailina Laisova, and her guide Alexei Ivanov. And they were right in the running in the sprint event as they picked up gold 2 days ago, looking for their second gold medal here. But they'll have to beat this lady here, the gold medalist from 2011, Elena Remizova.
3, 2, 1, go.
And they're off, so our full gamut of skiers is out there. Remember that this race in Vancouver was won by the great Verena Bente of Germany. And in the race today, interestingly enough, we do have from Belarus our bronze medalists from Vancouver in Yadvia Skorobahataya from Belarus. Lyubov Vasilieva from Russia had won the silver medal. And we will follow the progression now of this race as our last skier, Elena Remizova, has taken off. So the only non-starter for our women's 15K standing, Liene Ripa from Sweden. But Arleta Dudziak now for Poland coming into the stadium, so we'll have our reference time already. And we'll be able to count them down in this 15K event as this flag Asvaria floats in the wind on a windy day here, but still not as bad as it was yesterday. And our images from our cameraman showing Sollefteå down in the valley there, the land of the sun, as it has been called for many centuries. Now turned from an industrial to more of a tourist area, one of the fastest growing tourist areas of Sweden, I've been told. Well known for outdoor sports and fishing. The river right there, you can fish right down in the city center. Very welcoming and warm people in Sollefteå as they've welcomed us for these 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. And also the athletes are very happy. We just saw Sebastian Modin and Albin Hakerut, his guide, who just completed the 20K race. A lot of our volunteers have been here since the start and involved in helping us get this up and going. And the spectators have been numerous as they've profited from this commute system. The buses running regularly from downtown Sollefteå to the stadium up here, as we now will see a few slow-mo starts of our racers with Larissa Varona, a silver medalist from the sprint event, looking for another podium spot today. Maija Järvelä from Finland, looking for some redemption after a hard day a couple of days ago, aiming at the podium. Julia Bentekova, silver medalist from the last Paralympic Games and last World Championships, aiming for gold here today. And a lady who knows all about gold, Alexandra Kononova from the Ukraine, on our screen as she takes off. And Anna Milenina also on our replay on our screen, making her way to the start. Showing our bronze medalist from Vancouver, Jadwiga Skororabahataya from Belarus. Then it was a start for Oksana Shishkova from the Ukraine. Yulia Budalieva from Russia. Irina Bui also of that group. So they are out on course. Our reference times should be posted very soon, as we have a visual now on Arleta Dudziak. So Arleta Dudziak making her way close to the stadium there. We also saw Irina Bui from the Ukraine not far behind. And as you can see today, no tracks on the ground because we are free skating. This is the free technique, I should say, or skating. So free technique or skating. Different skis, different poles, different boots, different wax techniques. And Dudziak will be setting our first intermediate time for 5 kilometers. First of 3 laps for these ladies in the women's standing class. Once again, times will be factored based on their classifications. The classification is the level of impairment decided by specialists. And these classifications happen during very specific events and very specific times of the year. So Dudziak with a 17:38.7, and the reason why these classifications are done is to create a level playing field, giving everybody the chance. But now it is Irina Bui with a 16:18 who has taken the lead, looking very strong today. Now coming through here, Eureka Abe. So Eureka Abe coming in a 16:52.4, 33.7 seconds off the pace of Bui, pushing Dudziak into 3rd place. But watch out, here comes the silver medalist from the last Paralympic Games and last World Championships, Yulia Bantenkova, looking very strong as she has to go head on into the wind here on this slight climb. It's not a very steep one, but it starts lower down in the cross-country stadium and just keeps on going to the top of the biathlon stadium here. The one which we are using just for practical reasons, as we'll be going into biathlon events tomorrow. So here comes Bantenkova. So Bantenkova has passed a few skiers already. And the silver medalist from the sprint event, Varona, was part of them. So there we are. We have a new leader, and by 54.3 seconds is Yulia Bantenkova. So Bantenkova in the lead right now. Maija Järvelä from Finland will be coming through. Will she figure amongst the top 5 as she makes her way here? Oleksandra Kononova also coming through. So yes, so Järvelä is a 3rd right now. We'll also see Dekijima's time very soon, but I'm curious to see what Kononova will be posting here, as she will be coming through right now. So she's 2nd, so she's 17.3 seconds off the pace of Bantenkova. Dekijima is 6th. So it's Bantenkova with a time of 15:24, Kononova with a time of 15:41, and Bui with a time of 16:18. Top 3 right now. Less than a minute separating 1st to 3rd. But watch out, we now have coming through Anna Milenina. She is 2nd, so she is 11.9 seconds off the pace of Bantenkova, posting a 15:36.3. So there we go, Bantenkova, Milenina, Kononova. That's the 1, 2, 3. So quite a battle we have going on. Only 12 seconds separate 1st and 2nd, and another 5 seconds separate 3rd from 2nd at this point. So Bantenkova, Milenina, Kononova. Bui is 54 seconds behind, and rounding up our top 5 at 1:02 behind our leader is Maija Järvelä from Finland. So that being said, we should have a visual very soon on our first blind visually impaired skiers in the women's event. A 15K event once again. With the Skoraba Hataya, the bronze medalist from Vancouver in that group. And our athletes checking out their final results, their split times, and the coaches going back to their positions and following the racing for the group. Our start lists being used by coaches. And as you can see, technology quite the thing with the coaches, as a lot of them using the iPads and the iPhones. Very practical, as they can follow us here live on the web and also follow the timing, official timing provided here. So once again, our women's standing group is into the second lap of 3, and coming through on lap 1 after 5 kilometers, Yulia Bantenkova had an 11.9 second advantage on Anna Milenina from Russia. And then in third was Alexandra Kononova of the Ukraine, 17.3 seconds behind. Irina Bui of the Ukraine, 54.3 seconds behind. And rounding out our top 5, Maija Järvelä from Finland. So we do have a visual here on our blind visually impaired group. And that is Yulia Budalieva. So we'll have our first intermediate times here. And chasing her down, Mihailina Laisova. However, you'll be able to tell that Budalieva will have at least a 30-second priority on Laisova, as she left 30 seconds after her and has now passed her already. So it looks to be like Budalieva, Laisova. If I'm not mistaken, we may have seen Elena Remizova also in that group behind. And into the stadium they come. So this will be our first reference time, and it will belong to Yulia Budalieva of Russia. So what will be the time here for the first lap? Mihailina Laisova will be second, so it's going to be in and around the 15-minute mark. So 15:03.2 is what we're looking at for the first 5 kilometers. Mihailina Laisova coming in 14:44.3. Jadwiga Skora-Bahidata coming in 16:16, and Elena Remizova in the lead, 14:28.1. So there we go, 14:28.1, 14:44.3, and 15:03.2. Remizova, Laisova, Budalieva. That is our top 3 right now. Now I have a visual on number 62, I'm sorry. This is the Ukraine's Oksana Shishkova. Oksana Shishkova now coming through. So looking at our women's visually impaired standing, Elena Remizova is in first with a 14:28.1. Mihailina Laisova, 14:44.3, 16.2 seconds behind. Yulia Budalieva is in third, 35 seconds behind. Skora-Bahidata is fourth with a 1:48 disadvantage, and Shishkova of the Ukraine, 2 minutes and 59 seconds behind. That is the 5 skiers in that category. So Remizova, who had won earlier on this year in Vokati, a 5K free technique race over Budalieva and Laisova. So the logic being respected here between the top of 4 to 5 skiers in these events on the IPC circuit. The fans out here, we should see very soon also our first skiers coming in the women's standing 15K event. We have our fans, young and old, out there today enjoying this beautiful, balmy but windy weather in Sollefteå, Sweden today. And the coaches waiting to welcome their skiers here. And the wind has just picked up even more out on course. Now, just a reminder for those of you listening and watching us on the web, we will also be live this afternoon, 5:30 Sollefteå time, for our prize-giving ceremonies, our award ceremonies, where we'll honor our SID skiers from yesterday's long-distance events and our standing and blind visually impaired skiers of today's event. So be with us. Join us once again on www.youtube.com/Paralympic Sport Singular TV, and you'll be able to see us live and hear us live from Sollefteå, Sweden, and the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. And tomorrow we'll be going also into our biathlon event. So for those of you that enjoy biathlon, be with us for tomorrow. It will be our short distance events. We'll be doing a 7K for our men, 6K for our women in our sit ski events, And then for our standing, it will be a 7.5K for the men and 6K also for the women, with 150-meter penalty rounds to go. That'll be our first day of biathlon here in Sollefteå. So the nations have gathered for this event, 19 nations in all, 300 athletes here in Sollefteå to celebrate the best in Nordic skiing. And we have another look on our screen on the course. So that course being a 5-kilometer loop, a lot of climbing and descent between kilometers 1 and 2. And after kilometer 4, also a bit of a carbon copy of what you have between kilometers 1 and 2 as we drop a little bit more and climb back into the finish area. So very challenging and very difficult for the athletes, and especially that last stretch, half kilometer, it is head first into a pretty powerful wind here today. The men having to do it 4 times, the women 3 times, and it is not going to get any easier, believe you me. So last time around for our standing group after 5 kilometers, it was Yulia Batenkova who had an 11-second lead on Anna Milenina and a 17-second lead on Alexandra Kononova of the Ukraine. And in our visually impaired group after 5 kilometers, it was Remizova, Laisova, and Budalieva. And they were separated by 16 and 35 seconds respectively each. And as we were mentioning to our crowd watching on the web, our jury and technicians getting the firing range ready for the biathlon. As we now see Irina Bui, and Bui on for the first 5 kilometers was 4th, 54 seconds off the pace of Bantenkova. Let's see what she'll be able to post here as she makes her way to the 10 kilometer mark, I should say, not 10 meter, but 10 kilometer mark. So Irina Bui from the Ukraine, 9th in the January IPC ranking. So she will be setting the reference time for the 10K mark. The first 5Ks were done in fastest time 15:24, so we're looking at about 34 minutes maybe for Brie here as she comes through. 36 minutes. Yes, at this time about 36 minutes. No, she's going to be under that, 32, so she's really sped up on this second lap. So 16. So 32:34 is her time. 16:18 was her first lap. So yes, logically she's staying on pace. So 2 laps at around 16 minutes apiece. But right now, the name of the game is really what will Bantenkova, Kononova, and Milenina be able to accomplish. And talking about Bantenkova, here she comes. She will be posting by far the best time, 30:56. She's a full minute, 38 seconds than Irina Bui, who's having a good race here. And now here comes Alexandra Kononova of the Ukraine. She was, after 5 kilometers, in 3rd place. And what will be her time as she goes through here? It will be close to 31:15. And that's exactly the time that she has posted, 31:15.7. She's 19 seconds slower than Bantenkova. So Bantenkova, once again, 30:56 for 10 kilometers. Kononova, 31:15. Elina Bui, 32:34. But here comes Anna Milenina. Doesn't look like she's going fast, but with that tall stature of hers and that powerful push that she has from that right arm, she covers a lot of ground every time she gives a push. So, but she has dropped to third. Oh, this is interesting. She was second at the 5K mark, has now dropped to third. Aleta Dudziak from Poland is in fifth. So Milenina, 15:36 was her time for her first lap, and she has fallen to over 16 minutes for her second lap of 5 kilometers. Now coming in, Yurika Abe. She was sixth after 5K. Where does she sit now? She is fifth, moved up into fifth. Yurika Abe, 35:03. She's 4 minutes and 7 seconds off the pace of Bantenkova, however. And now coming by will be our first visually impaired athletes very soon. And we should also see the other Japanese skier of this group for the women's standing 15K free technique event, Momoko Dekejima. And that is her making her way now into the stadium on our screens. So Bantenkova, Kononova, Milenina in that order, our top three right now. Can anybody make it back up into that group? There is a huge gap between third and fourth, more than 1 minute, or just under 1 minute, I should say, as Momoko Dekejima has just posted the fifth best time, 34:32.9. She's 3 minutes and 36 seconds off the pace of Bantenkova. And now we should see, yes, coming into the stadium will be Belarus's Larisa Varona. More of a sprinter, winning a silver a couple of days ago in that event here in Sollefteå. And 8th is her placing right now. She was 9th last time around, so she has picked up a bit of time. And one skier that we have not seen yet is Maja Järvelä. Wondering if she's still in the race. Not showing any results to the fact that she may have dropped out. Yulia Udalieva now on our screen and making her way towards the stadium. First time around. Looking very strong here with her guide Tatiana Maltsieva. Getting the instructions from the coaches, the time gaps, and trying to stay in contention for a medal today in this women's 15K free technique, blind and visually impaired class. And you can hear her guide telling her, come on, you can do it, you can do it. And she's only been into this sport since 2010 from Tyumen, Russia. And the wind now really complicating things in the stadium for the athletes. So Budalieva coming in first right now, setting the reference time, I should say, of a 29:46.7 for the 10K mark. And now we'll see the other competitors make their way here and see what Elena Remizova will accomplish, as she has really gained a lot of terrain, passing Lysova at this point. So she will definitely be in the lead, and still by 29 seconds. She had 35 seconds on Budalieva last time around, so Budalieva has sped up a little bit. One that seems to have slowed down is Mihalina Lysova, as she'll go through here. So Lysova has now dropped to third place. Budalieva has really picked up and is in second. So Remizova completing the 10K in 29:16.8. Budalieva in 29:46.7. Lysova still in third, now has dropped to third, I should say, and 30.1. And we have Skora Bahataya from Belarus changing skis. And I think we may have here, yep, we have on our screen Maya Järvelä, who seems to have called it a day in the women's 15K race. Replay showing that she has left the course and not looking none too happy about it. Understandably so. World Championships, when you've made it to this level, it is not what you want to do is pull the plug for the day, but sometimes the mental and the physical not following. So we just got our answer there. Maija Järvelä from Finland declaring forfeit for the end of this event. Jadwiga Skora-Bahataya is now fourth, the bronze medalist from Vancouver. Skora-Bahataya from Belarus is 3 minutes 26 off the pace. Batenkova, Kononova, Milenina. Those are your standings after 10 of 15 kilometers. So we'll be waiting to see if Elena Remizova will win gold again, as she did in 2011 at the World Championships and in Vancouver. As we see Järvelä packing it in for the day on our screens. So once again, the results after a 10K trek here through Soleftio. Elena Remizova and her guide Natalia Yakimova are first, 29 seconds behind. Yulia Budalieva and Tatiana Maltseva, her guide, are in second. And Mihalina Lysova and her guide Alexei Ivanov are 44 seconds back. Skora-Bahataya and Kazakevich, her guide, are 3 minutes and 26 seconds back, and we are still looking to see what will be the time here for Shishkova. But it looks like, from what we see here on our TV screens, that Shishkova may have also decided, taking off her bib. So we will have one skier less in our women's 15K free technique race, blind and visually impaired, as Oksana Shishkova has removed her bib and will pack it in for today. So there we go. We are waiting for the finale, as we see now our official results after 10K of 15. Remizova, Budalieva, Lysova, 1, 2, and 3. They are 44 seconds away from Remizova. For Lysova and her guide Ivanov, Budalieva and Maltseva are 29 seconds off the pace of Remizova and Yakimova. So one more lap to go, a little bit less, and we will know who will be the world champ In the women's 15K free technique, standing and blind, visually impaired classes. What a day of racing this has been again, as we've had this morning our men go in the visually impaired and standing categories, and our ladies taking off right after that. And we are looking at some very close races, especially in our women's standing category, as only 28 seconds separate first and third. In our women's visually impaired, 44 seconds separate first and third, and less than 5K to go. And a reminder for all of our athletes and coaches. As some of the officials here trying to stay warm in the wind. It's nice and balmy when you're out of the wind, but oh boy, when it blows through the stadium here. Our friend Oscan trying to stay warm. And thank you once again to the local biathlon and ski clubs volunteering here, putting in a lot of time to make this a successful event. Quite an undertaking, these world champions, as we see some of our volunteers there, shying away from the camera. This is day number 3 of a very busy slate that started with our opening ceremonies on Sunday. Monday competition started with our sprint events. Yesterday was our Sidski long distance event. Today our standing and blind visually impaired. Tomorrow we start our biathlon portion in para-Nordic skiing. Biathlon and cross-country skiing compose the Nordic side of things. So that will be happening tomorrow. Then on Friday we will go to our middle distances for biathlon. Saturday is a day of international forum happening here at the Halsta Hotel, Hastelberget Hotel, and we'll be back to racing on Sunday with our biathlon long, as we get a good view of our friend Guy Magan on the screen from France, de la France. Alors notre ami Guy, belle prise de vue sur vous mon cher à la télévision, et les entraîneurs, the coaches waiting for their athletes to come through here, and in this case looking to see where Sheshkova was, because she, as we mentioned, has pulled out of that race, but however very preoccupied about the placing of the standing women's Ukrainian athletes. Bantenkova, who was leading her countrymate Kononova by 19 seconds last time around. So we'll have that coming up very soon. The completion of these women's events, they are the long distance events for cross country. And we also have some of our members of the IPC research crew filming the athletes. Very important in the classification process, as we've told you many times before. The reason why there are the different numbered sequences for the athletes in the classification, well, it is made to create a level playing field. Some athletes are more impaired by their disabilities than others. And this lady here is motoring Alexandra Kononova. Has she been able to pick up those 19 seconds that separated her from Bantenkova? No, because we just saw Bantenkova right on the heels now of Irina Bui, another Ukrainian. So Ukraine 1, 2, and 3 here but not in sequence because this is a pursuit mode. So staggered standings, and we are coming to the finale. This is going to look very good for the skier from the Ukraine, Yulia Bantenkova, as she was our leader after 10 kilometers by 19 seconds, still up on Kononova. What will be the time? And this will be a world championship performance for the skier from the Ukraine. Once again, she was the silver medalist in Vancouver, silver medalist in Russia, but this time she should be decorated in gold. This is Yulia Bantenkova, leaving some place for Brie and also for Alexandra Kononova, who has just clocked the second best time. But look at that, she really picked up a lot of time on Bantenkova. Last time around, she was 19 seconds behind. She finishes only 7 seconds behind. So on the last 5 kilometers, Alexandra Kononova went and picked up a good 8 seconds almost on her rival. Almost 9 seconds. So there you go. The story of the day will be the 1 and 2 of the Ukraine in this event, with Yulia Bantenkova, Alexandra Kononova battling out right to the end. Now, what will happen to Anna Milenina, who we see now on our screens making it into the stadium as our overall IPC ranking leader after the month of January, as she's come into this competition with a bit of pressure wearing that red bib. What will it be? Will it still be a bronze medal for her, as she went from second place at the 5K mark, dropping to third at the 10K mark, I'm sorry. Now she has to hope that the acceleration by Irina Bui from the Ukraine won't be sufficient enough for a bronze medal here, but we'll find out. Milenina seeming to struggle here on this last 5K portion of the course. We will see. The clock is ticking. Will the Russian Anna Milenina be able to hold on to third place? Yes, she will, because the time difference here on Irina Bui will be definitely enough to keep her in contention for a medal today. And here she comes from Russia, Anna Milenina. A few last pushes and she will cross the line in third place and bronze medalist today with a time of 48:015. So Bantenkova, Kononova, and Milenina are your top 3 of the women's 15K standing free technique event of these 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships out of Sollefteå, Sweden. Well, more athletes still to come. And especially we are waiting for the athletes in our blind, visually impaired group. As we have a visual now also on number 51, Arleta Dudziak from Poland. She's just about to complete her 15K race today at these World Championships. Once again, a reminder, everybody, we will be live at 5:30 Sweden time on youtube.com/Paralympic Sport TV for our award ceremonies. And back here at 10 a.m. Sweden time for our first day of biathlon competitions at these 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. Coming strong now, Arleta Dudziak completing her race up the final incline, and watch out right behind there. We will have our visually impaired women's finale, at least when it comes to Yulia Buralieva, as she will be the first to clock a final time here at the 15K mark, just about the same time as Duziak crests over the hill. Looking back is Budalieva's guide, Tatiana Maltsieva. So at the 10K mark, it was Remizova, Budalieva, Laisova. And they will clock the time because here comes behind Remizova. It is a time of 44:12 for Yulia Budalieva and Tatiana Maltseva. 44:38.7, but now the waiting game starts as pushing extremely hard now is Elena Remizova and Natalia Yakimova, the gold medalist from the games in Vancouver and also from the last World Championships. Will this be enough? Oh, this is gonna be close, but she will make it. Here we go. World champ once again will be Elena Remizova and Natalia Yakimova of Russia, as she has really motored here in the last 5 kilometers, staying in the lead and crossing the line in our women's standing category. We just had Larissa Varona and also Yurika Abe coming in 7th. And right now, giving it all she's got, she's even dropped the buff, the chook, is Mihailina Laisova, wanting to keep that bronze medal place on the podium. Doesn't have too much to worry about. Still, she had almost a 2.5 minute gap on her nearest competitor. So Laisova will say goodbye to the silver this year at World Championships. It will be another medal, but this time it will be bronze for Mihailina Laisova and her guide, Alexei Ivanov. So there we have our top 3 in the women's visually impaired 15K free technique race. And the wind, once again, you can see it, you can hear it in our microphones, just blowing up a storm. And that last little ascent, very, very difficult. So Bantenkova, Kononova, and Milenina, 1, 2, 3 in the women's standing 15K free technique race. And Remizova, Budalieva, and Laisova, 1, 2, 3 in the women's blind visually impaired race, 15 kilometers. So Ukraine and Russia once again dominating the scene here in Soleftio in these women's event. Next skier we should see coming up to the finish line will be the bronze medalist from Vancouver, Yadvia Skorobahataya from Belarus, and her guide Vadzim Kazakevich. Being cheered on by the fans as she makes her way to the finale. A few more kicks and pushes, and this day of work will be over for Skora Bahataya and Kazakevich. And her time posted today on this very difficult and windy course will be a time of 49:11.4, ending up in 4th today. So that completes our group in the women's visually impaired race. Still, we've also seen our last skier come in the women's standing. So that completes our racing. And there are our final results. Bantenkova, Kononova, and Milenina is our podium for the women's standing 15K race today on this 3rd day of the IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships. 1, 2, 3 pour les femmes standing, debout. Alors les catégories L, W, 2 à 9. And our final results for our visually impaired, Remizova and Yakimova, Budalieva, Maltseva, Laisova, and Ivanov. A Russian sweep, 1-2-3 once again, and a beautiful performance by them as they've swept a podium. Alors un autre podium 1-2-3 de la part des Russes dans le 15 km style libre chez les femmes aujourd'hui à Sollefteå. Just a reminder, once again, 5:30 this evening or this afternoon, depending on how you see it, live on www.youtube.com/Paralympic Sport TV. We will have live on the web our awards ceremony, so we invite you to join us for that. And we will be seeing you a little bit later on today for those. And just a reminder, tomorrow, our biathlon short races starting at 10 a.m. Sweden time. My name is Randy Ferguson. Thank you very much for watching and listening here in the stadium to this third day of competition of the 2013 IPC Nordic Skiing World Championships live from Sollefteå, Sweden. We'll see you this evening or tomorrow morning. Good day, everybody.